Hey, it's Kyle here, and in today's video I'll be continuing my series exploring all the great animated content in the Star Wars universe. For anybody that hasn't seen the first few videos in this series, basically I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but one big hole in my fandom was I'd never seen any of the Star Wars animated content. But with this year with the pandemic and being stuck at home, finally had plenty enough time to alright, now's the time I can catch up on all this great stuff I've never seen. Let's binge all the Star Wars animated stuff on Disney Plus. So I've completed the Clone Wars. All those reviews for each of the seasons are up. I'm now on Star Wars Rebels. So today's video will focus on Season 2 of Rebels. After my first video for Season 1 for Rebels, I decided I'm going to change up how I do this video a little bit. I think Rebels, the way seasons are structured, is so different from Clone Wars. The way I was doing the Clone Wars videos don't necessarily translate to the Rebels videos. So instead of going in by episode to episode, like I was for Clone Wars, for Rebels, I'm going to do more of the major season storylines or plot points, and not necessarily focus on episode per episode. So I have some notes here that I'll be looking down every once in a while as I go over Season 2 of Rebels. Really enjoyed the second season. I think Season 1 of Rebels did a great job of kind of laying the framework and foundation for the series, and Season 2 really picked up where Season 1 left off and just built on it, and was an awesome season. I really enjoyed it. Season 2 is definitely my favorite out of the first two of Rebels so far. Was really interested in how the storyline developed, a lot of characters that were introduced in Season 1, the new characters. I loved their character development. Also loved, enjoyed seeing some old favorites return to the animated world of Star Wars in Season 2. So let me touch on some stuff. I didn't mention in my Season 1 video for Rebels that the very end of the last episode of Season 1, Vader arrives. So he's here for the start of Season 2. Love Vader's depiction this season. He's depicted, firstly as insanely evil, but at the same time, he's talented. He's a talented commander. He's been brought in to kind of restore order to Lothar and stamp out the rebel cell here, and he's brutal about how he's doing it, and in some ways our rebels are taken aback of how evil and ruthless he is. Of course, one of the highlights of Season 2 at the very beginning is with Ahsoka and Vader have a connection. And Vader knows instantly, and he reports back to the Emperor, like, my former Padawan is still Ahsoka's here. And of course the Emperor quickly gives him orders. You need to go kill your Padawan. Ahsoka, I think she knows it's Anakin, she senses, but it's such an evil presence, she almost is unsure of herself and knows it's evil, but she's not. I think she's afraid to admit to herself that she knows this is Anakin. So it's very interesting to see that that turmoil in her as she's trying to come to this realization. Very quickly into the season, you get one of the best characters from the Clone Wars. You get Captain Rex reintroduced. Ahsoka is kind of giving assistance to our band of rebels, and she recommends, I have an old friend that I think would be a big asset. Why don't you go to where he's been hiding out and try to recruit him? And so we get Captain Rex and a couple other clone troopers. I love their addition to the series. I think it was a great little addition to the series in our rebel group, that as the rebel group is expanding, as becoming more effective, that Rex was a perfect character to add. One, because of his experience, it makes sense that his addition would help the group become more effective in regard to military strategy and discipline and stuff like that. And then Rex is just a very interesting character, so it also helped make the series a lot more interesting, and his dynamic with the other characters I really enjoyed. The introduction of some new Inquisitors I also found interesting. I think I kind of enjoyed the Inquisitor from season 1 a little bit more than our 2 additional ones that were introduced in season 2 at the beginning. But I did like you had these Inquisitors, being involved at the same time. Vader's in the background. You definitely probably the most with Ahsoka and Kanan and Ezra. This is a lot more Force users involved than I was initially expecting. So that was kind of an interesting dynamic for this season. In regard to our Rebels, I really enjoyed the development of Hera and Sabine in season 2. Hera definitely really establishes herself as the leader of our group. She's unquestioned, not even debated at this point. She is the leader of the group, which with season 1 started, I would never guess that. Season 1 seemed to clearly position Kanan at the beginning, like, oh, he's the leader. But by the end of season 1, Hera was beginning to establish herself more, and by season 2, she's completely in charge of our little rebel group. And I found it interesting to see how her character develops in leadership and how the group quickly acknowledges, you're our leader, you're the one we're going to follow. Really enjoyed Sabine's development throughout the season as well, as I'll touch on later, of some of the plot points that kind of involve the Mandalorians that I really enjoyed. One story plot point that I found interesting during the season was a certain episode that focused on Ezra's parents, as he had a Force vision of them, and he kind of goes back to Lothar and makes contact with somebody that was in prison with his parents, and he kind of finds out what happened to his parents, and I think it helps really shape his future on how he wants to fight the Empire, and it in some ways makes him even more committed to this struggle. I thought that was a very moving plot point in season 2. One thing I wasn't really expecting to happen in season 2 was that you had an episode where Princess Leia was there, and she was awesome. I really enjoyed it. She's kind of a very young leader yet. She's still finding her way. So I kind of enjoyed her obvious intelligence and talents, but at the same time, she's still kind of learning how to fight back against the Empire covertly, because at this point she's still in the Senate, and how she interacts with our group of rebels. I really enjoyed that episode and how Leia was depicted in it. Concord Dawn and the Mandalorian group that's depicted in season 2, found interesting to see another aspect of Mandalorian culture, and their leader, Finn Rao, I believe is how you pronounce his name. Clone Wars, anytime the Mandalorians were involved, I really enjoyed their story arcs. So with Sabine being in the show as a Mandalorian, I was really hoping we'd see a lot more of Mandalorian culture. And so when Concord Dawn is introduced with Finn, I was instantly in and loved that aspect to the stories. He started building more. Each character was really getting episodes to kind of develop their world and their character depth, and how they're going to play a role in their rebellion, and why their rebellion is important to them, and what they bring to their rebellion, the various alliances and knowledge and skill sets. I really loved how that was developed through season 2 for all our groups of rebels. Same thing kind of for Sabine, but Zeb, I really loved his kind of focus episode of Legends of Lasat. It's a very different episode for Rebels. It is very spiritual. It kind of reminded me a little bit of the Mortis storyline from the Clone Wars, where you have this kind of very spiritual story plot point. And, this was definitely very different from the other episodes in Rebels, and I enjoyed that. You kind of, that they use Zeb for this focus, because Zeb is not the most spiritual character of our Rebels, but yet he's the one that has to accept his fate and have faith in the unknown, and his role in helping to save his species. I really enjoyed that episode. It was very, very moving, and then it really made me view Zeb in a different way after that episode. Later in the season, I love the introduction of the new droid, AP5. I don't know what it is about the Star Wars animated series, but every time they introduce a droid, it instantly becomes one of my favorite characters. They do such a great job with the droids of, like, almost once they're instantly introduced, you you know their personality right away. You quickly fall in love with them. They add something different. All the droids have different personalities and what they bring to the show. I think obviously with AP5 and Chopper, you kind of have a little bit of a R2-D2 C-3PO dynamic, although AP5 is a very different droid than C-3PO, but you can kind of see they have some similarities as well. So I'm loving seeing this droid dynamic that he's bringing in, and I'm hoping that he plays a big role in the future seasons of Rebels. And then Darth Maul comes back towards the end of season 2, and I really enjoyed Maul's character and all the animated stuff from the Clone Wars to Rebels here. Really loved it. I think season 2 did a great job of hitting the ground running and really keeping the gas pedal down the entire time. It was non-stop world building, plot development, character development, some amazing stories, very interesting, beautiful animation. I really loved season 2 of Rebels, and it made me very excited to see the potential for season 3 and season 4. I still prefer Clone Wars so far, but season 2 of Rebels made me think there's a chance that Rebels could reach the same level of awesomeness that the Clone Wars did. So that's my thought on season 2 of Star Wars Rebels. In the comment section below, please let me know what you thought of the second season of Rebels. If you had some favorite characters, plot points, just let me know. As always, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate the support. I hope I hope you're enjoying this series I'm doing on all the animated content in the Star Wars universe. I'm having fun doing this, so I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. See you the next time, and may the Force be with you.